Hello guys and welcome to the first ever playthrough on my gaming channel of FM20. I'm going to be starting off with Newcastle United. I've been in the Steam Workshop and I've downloaded the mod which gets rid of Mike Ashley, the old ownership, and brings in the new ownership with, I think is it Maria Stanley, and the Saudi owners. So obviously Mike Ashley's gone, they've now got money bags. And basically I'm going to see how far I can get them. Probably main goal in this series is to get them to sort of a Champions League final, then possibly winning the league, and then maybe even doing like a treble or a double or something like that, and then seeing how far we can actually push them up the table. I haven't used this mod before. I do play FM20 quite a bit, but I haven't actually used this mod before, the new mod. I know there's been a few mods in the past with Newcastle, obviously takes away the ownership of Mike Ashley and stuff like that, but this is the first time I've used the one with the new owners, prospective owners should I say, that are going to be coming in soon. So we'll just wait for this to load and then obviously we'll go through. Firstly, check out the finances, see what it is. I do know on the original one, if you just play it sort of normal without any mods installed for Newcastle, I think the budget's around about 20 million, which isn't great. But I just want to see what sort of the budget they're going to give you now with the new ownership. So new owner is Mohammed bin Salman, and so he wants basically to play attacking football, entertaining football, and develop the players using the club's youth system. Sort of sounds like a bit like Manchester United. Work within a budget. Premier League, they want to finish in the top half, so I'm guessing they want Europa League football. And then obviously FA Cup, fifth round minimum, at Carabao Cup. Probably in this first season, I'm not going to concentrate too much on these. I'm going to concentrate more on the sort of the Premier League finish place. I mean, if we get a good run the cup, that'd be good. If we win it, that'd be even better. But if we don't, we don't. But mainly the Premier League place is going to be where I want to try and get to, a Europa League place, or even, if we could get there, get to a Champions League place, and move up from there. So we'll accept that. Pre-season, we'll just do it as normal now, because we don't really know what the squad is. Transfer windows open, induction, blah blah. Right, so let's check out the finances. So, yeah, that's a lot of money. That's more than I'm expecting. I remember the previous mods didn't have this much. They had about 60 million, but this, I mean, you can pretty much buy a full new squad for that. So we'll be making a lot of signings before the beginning of the season. Not too bothered about pre-season, if I'm honest. I will try and skip through that and get to the first game and do a lengthy episode on that. But with this one, I'm just going to try and get through the pre-season pretty quick, so I'll do that off camera. As you can see, we've got a lot of income, no debts, which I don't think there was any debts in the previous one, but there's no debts now. Sponsorship, obviously we've got quite a lot of sponsorship. I mean, it's not as high as I expected, but I mean, if you look at this one, the additional kit sponsor on top of the main one is for 30 years is 345 million, so it's not too bad. Projection, so next season we're going to be going up, and in the season after, but I won't mind too much about that. So let's go check out the squad now. The squad, from being a football person, I know the squad isn't the best, but I mean, we'll just have a quick check to see what it's actually like. So let's have a look. So we've got quite a few, decent players in the squad already. I'm not going to look at getting a new keeper because we have Dubravka in net, and I know he's pretty decent. We will definitely look at getting a few centre backs in, a few midfielders, definitely a striker because Joel Linton is just can't bag a goal for anything. And obviously we just have him up front with Saint Maximin, Almiron, Atsu. I don't know whether he's out on loan this season or not, but he's useless. And we'll try and get rid of some of the dead weight like John Joe Shelver, Isaac Hayden, and just try and get some decent young players in. Try and stick in for under 25s, get them through the doors. and then try and get rid of the dead weight. Anyone over the age of 29, I'm going to try and get rid of. And as you can see, they have a few players that are, in that age bracket: Dwight Gale, Kieran Clark, Mark Richer, Andy Carroll. Definitely getting rid of him, even after I pay him off, and Rob Elliott. So, the next thing I wanted to look at is the club vision. Now I know we looked at this when we accepted it, but I just wanted to see, was there anything else right? So we have full basically we have full adjustment of the transfer budget, so we can make it go up or down, so that's pretty good. And the wage budget a week is 1.6 million, which is really good. So we start selling players, that should go up. We can make that go up, but I mean at the moment 1.6 million is pretty decent. So let's see. So the first thing I want to do is, if we look at tactics now, this is my first ever video for YouTube on my channel, so if you guys know any decent tactics, because I'm pretty rubbish at that, if you guys know any decent tactics, if you can drop them in the comments for this video. I've got some that I've got preloaded, but I'm going to try and do one myself. But if you guys know any decent ones, if you could drop them in there and let me know how I can improve it, that'd be amazing. So I'm just going to go for the assistance recommendations. So we'll go for a 4-4-1-1. I don't really like that. It doesn't really sound attacking to me, so we'll go for that because I like the wingers and the inside forward. So we'll go for that. We'll just leave it as that for a moment, but we will change it from cautious to positive. And then that'll be our main tactic from now. Team report. Let's go on squad depth. As you can see, keeper's alright. I mean, the back line, probably the best centre back we have is Lascelles. Fernandez is quite old now. Danny Rose at left back. Emerald Craft, Lazaro, if I'm saying that right. And also we've got a few others going forward, like Bentlev, John Josh Shelver. I'm going to try and sell Shelver, try and build a team around Longstaff. Try and get some decent players at wingers. We definitely need a right winger and a left winger. Even though we've got Almiron and St. Maximum, we need a bit more depth, because the ones below them are quite, like Matt Ritchie's old. Atsu's not good. Up front, we've got Dwight Gale, Joe Linton, Andy Carroll. We definitely need some strikers up front. I'm going to try and go for youth. So let's have a look at what the assistant's saying. So he's basically saying there isn't a great deal of depth outside the first team. Yeah, I gathered that. And yeah, I mean, let's see what we can get in the transfer market on this episode. So we just do it. So firstly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to upgrade the scouting packages, just because they're quite, I mean, at the moment we're only scouting UK and Ireland, and with the budget we've got, we want to be scouting basically the world for senior players, and the same with the youth. So we want to basically be looking at the best players in the world for our squad. So the first thing we're going to do, we're just going to do a quick search. It isn't too technical. I know probably anyone that's watching this video who's any good at this game will probably do a more in-depth search. So if you want to let me know how I do that, that'd be fantastic. But like I say, I'm going to stick it to 25 and under, and we'll try and get the best one we can. Now, see, I won't mind Richarlison. Mitrovic would be a shout, but I might have a look at Eduardo from Celtic. I might scout him, and while we're scouting him, we'll put a cheeky bid in of 20 million, and see what we get from that. Now, Moussa Dembele, I know Chelsea are after him in the real world, and he's around the same price as Eduardo from Celtic. And who's after him now? Man United. Well, that's a shock. They need a striker. So we put a cheeky bid in for him as well, and see what we come back from that. And then we'll just move on. Right, so we've managed to actually get a response back from Chelsea quite quick, within a few days after dropping the bid for Eduardo. So they want 34 million for him. I reckon if we went to about 25, I reckon they might say yeah. So we'll go 25 and a half. Profit from next sale, we'll drop that down to about 25%. And then what we'll do is, because they wanted 32 and a bit, I think, we'll put on a minimum goal. So after 30 goals, we'll say they get 2.5 million. So that brings up to 28. So I'm guessing they may accept that. And as you can see, like I said in the beginning, I'm not going to do the friendlies just because there's no point. There isn't any goody teams. I'd rather just start the season and go on from there, and then see how we go. So Matty Longstaff, future at Newcastle United with 12 months remaining. So we'll have a look at that, and see how good. I mean, if anyone knows how good he actually turns out, if you can let me know what I keep him. See, look at that, 24 million for Moussa Dembele. So I reckon if we do a little 21.5, 20%, say we suggest the terms, boom, yes, that's quite a good deal. That so we can get him in and Eduardo. That'd be quite good. Our first conference. I don't know about anyone else, but sometimes I can just click any buttons on these. But with this one, I'm actually going to read them while I'm talking to you and go through it. Probably the main thing with this series, like I say, the episodes may be long and they might be short depending on how I'm feeling when I'm doing them. But I'm only going to highlight probably the big games and sort of the games that we didn't play well in, or games we really did play well in, and also the cup runs. And then see how that is, how it's going with you guys, and see whether you like it. If you do, like I say, leave a thumbs up, give it a like, and click that subscribe button so obviously you can check out the next episode. So they've accepted the offer for Moussa Dembele, which is pretty good. So we'll do negotiations because we don't want to be giving him a wedge per week. So important player, negotiate contract. So he wants 110 grand a week. I say we do 95, and they've slipped a release clause in by the agent for 75 million, which really, if we pay 20, isn't that bad. So I'm pretty happy with that. So if we say suggest terms, he's accepted it straight away. And at the moment, I mean, he's currently operating at a good Premier League level and would be a quality signing recommendation at the moment. And if I'm honest, anything's better than Joe Linton because he doesn't score goals. So that's that's a bonus. So yeah. So right. So Eduardo's been accepted for 25.5 million from Celtic. So there's, if we can get him as well, that'd be two decent strikers. He's got actually a better rating than Moussa Dembele from Lyon, which is better. So we just try and negotiate, get him a decent. Because he only wants 105 grand a week, which when you think about it, in FM terms, it isn't really a lot. But we can also get rid of that. So if clubs do come in for him, we can set the price. I reckon 97k a week. Yeah. Yes. So let's go on. Right. So as well, Matt Richer, who wants him on loan. Everton want him on loan till the end of the season, but really, I want to sell him. Saive, a few of the clubs have come in for him. I've accepted the offers on him because I just want him gone. So I'm not really bothered how much I get for him. As I say, we've got nearly 260 million in the bank, so a million's not going to be really bothered. Matt Richer, we want him actually out of the club. So what we'll do with him is he's listed, but we'll actually put him up there, and we'll just put him up for about 12.5 million, and just see how that goes. I'm not going to put in any like future clauses or anything like that. Profit for next sale. He's 29. No one's going to buy him after this. He'll probably drop down to about 4 million, but not really worth it. Matty Longstaff. Right, so we've got a few offers. One from Burnley and one from Brighton. Now the one from Brighton, they're offering us 6.5 million. That's it. But Burnley are offering us 12.5, what we asked for, but they want 8.5 grand a week, well, 8.25, 8.25 a week wage that we're going to pay him, which I'm going to accept just because it's the full whack, and like I say, we're not exactly short for cash, so we can sort of take that hit. and then go from there. Right, so we've had an offer from West Brom for Jack Callback. Now, he is a defensive midfielder, and that's one of the areas I'm going to assess and try and get in some decent players. So if you know any decent players I can get in, don't really matter about the price. As you can see, we've got, we've got the money. So if you know any decent ones who are pretty young, drop them in the comments below, and I'll try and get them in and see, mention the guys who give me the advice for the players to get him in. But with this one, we're just going to accept it. I know he's worth 3 and a bit million. They only offered 1 and a bit, but I'm not really bothered. Just want him out the door, so we can get young players in and stamp in the squad. Right, happy days. So I'm also going to look at maybe in the next episode of upgrading our staffing. Now I know some areas we are actually lacking, like coaching, recruitment, medical staff. I'm going to try and get in good coaches, like good goalkeeping coaches, good physios and stuff like that, and upgrade the recruitment team, because it's not the best. Even though I've upgraded the packages, and they're not scouting the best players. So we'll try and get through that. So Eduardo's accepted it, so that's 27 million for him. Happy days. So there's one in. And Save they've offered, so I'm just going to accept that. Like I say, I mean, I'm not really that bothered. If we can get him out the door, get him out the door. And what we'll actually try and do as well is, if we can get Joe Linton out on a loan or something, or very cheap, we'll do that as well. Right, so we'll ask Longstaff to welcome him to the club. And like I say, I'm going to try and build a team around Longstaff, because he's young and he fits the profile of the players that I want, and I want to bring him through. He's a defensive midfielder, so I mean, if I can get him to keep him at the club for a long time, that'll be good, and we can build decent players around him. So we've upgraded the strikers so far with one. If we can get Musa and Billy, that'd be fantastic. And I mean, with this episode, I'd probably say that's a wrap there. And what we'll try and do in the next one is we'll try and get more transfers in, revamp a lot of the tactics, the coaching staff, and get ready for the beginning of the season. If we just check what our first game is, see, we haven't actually got that, so it doesn't start for we don't actually get that to closer to the beginning of the season. But the next one, I will give a list of who obviously we're going to kick off with and what the big games are. If you like this, like I say, drop a like. If you want to see the next couple of episodes, hit the subscribe button. If you can give me any tips, pointers, or anything like that for going forward, for players, for tactics mainly, because we're going to need good tactics to get through the season and push on, and also like good scouting for the networks we've got, also coaching and stuff like that. If you can drop it in the comments, I will leave this mod in the comments if anyone's looking for it, but it's on the main page in the Steam Workshop, so it should be pretty easy to find. But okay, all right, cheers guys, see you in the next one.